Be a bit jolly.
Hello. God, sorry, I've just rushed in from the garden.
Looking a bit miserable.
No, I'm not looking. Well, I am.
He's
but
looking
I
a
don't
bit
need to.
old miserable. So, apparently, Meghan Markle has gone into labour. There's been lots of speculation. In fact, we were talking about this the other day and saying, because lots of people believe that the baby had already been born because they'd made this official statement that they weren't going to make a statement when the baby was born.
It's all very odd that they say, I mean, the only part of this press story I've heard is that they're not making a statement, and all we've ever had since she's been pregnant is statements.
Yeah, so the palace...
agree?
No, there hasn't really been.
There's been constant statements about not having statements. I'm being ironic.
No, there wasn't. That's the trouble, because that's what everyone was saying. If the palace had just said, she's not gone into labour yet and we're not going to say, but they haven't said anything. So that's why there's been so much speculation reading into everything.
No, but that's the irony. We've had as many headlines about not having potential headlines as
well,
possible.
it does. It creates an atmosphere of intrigue.
Yeah.
But it has been... Hi, everybody. It has been rumoured, of course, that she wants a home birth. So we thought it'd be good to do a little live all about home birthing, because of course we had both ours at home, and loads of people have been asking me ever since there's been the rumour about Meghan Markle having a baby at home, what is it actually like to have a baby at home? It's extremely rare. I think only 2% of the population.
I didn't want to have the babies at home.
Yeah, I think only 2% of the population actually have home births, and apparently Meghan has been mocked by the medical world for doing it. She's 37, which takes you to... I was 38 when I was pregnant with Maddie. I think 39 when I had her. So I was the same. You're classed as a geriatric mother because she's 2 years over what would be classed as low risk.
If I can say something, that was why I didn't want to... That's why I didn't want to have a home birth. I think it's important to say this. You can have home births for your children and not necessarily go into it fully signed up to it to begin with, and then you can discover the joys of it. So, you know, I think it's something that really, really worked for us with Maddie, certainly with Kiki, but it wasn't necessarily something that we were both comfortable about, was it? It's something that I think women are more comfortable about than men, don't you?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose
well, I think
a woman...
two parents involved, I mean...
I don't know whether women are more comfortable...
Well, because it's their body. I mean, I suppose if you feel in control of your body and what's going to happen to it, you're going to feel more confident about being in control of your body. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Whereas I just think, for the husband, it can be quite a frightening prospect, because I think husbands are all about what is the support network around. So I think I'm intrigued, not just by Meghan's experiences, but by Harry's.
Well, this is what I was talking about on the show the other day. I was saying the thing is... he's not really had the background to see bits of nun on the floor, landing on the floor and you know, all of that stuff. But anyway, you know, the thing is, what is a home birth like for a royal family compared to...
Well, exactly.
Because the
You've probably
Queen...
got a full medical entourage, haven't you? They've probably transported an entire A&E delivery department to the palace, haven't they?
Well, the Queen had all of her babies at home, and did the Queen Mother. I think actually Kate Middleton was the first to break with tradition. I'm not sure about Anne. But yeah, I think having a home birth as a royal is going to be very, very different. You've probably got obstetricians and everything there. I mean, we didn't. We had just an independent midwife the first time, and my sister, and the second time we had our friend Rachel, who's also a homeopath, and then a midwife, didn't we?
I mean, I think we had two opposite ends of the spectrum experiences, but I wouldn't necessarily... I suppose I'm making quite... Because I'm sure a lot of people watching this would think, madness having a home birth. And I would have thought the same thing. And when I look at both the births of our kids, you could say we had a really troubling experience and we had a really pleasant, life-affirming experience. But that was more about the pregnancy and the labour, not about whether it was at home. You know
I mean, the thing is to remember, it's a relatively short amount of time that we started putting women into hospital to have babies. Babies were always birthed out. I was home birthed. You know, I mean, midwives... Unfortunately, they're losing their skills. They have, because they're not allowed to use them anymore. I mean, it became much easier for men. It was men that decided that what a woman should do is lie on her back with her legs up in the air to have a baby, because it was easier for them to look at what was going on. But actually, if you think about it, baby's got to go along and up and round and back down. So actually, it's just gravity. well, it makes sense that it's better to be standing or sitting but I think what's important when you're having a baby is that what you are in the position that you feel comfortable in, because a lot of people are comfortable on their back, and it is such a personal decision. And of course, you know, so many people have amazing births in hospital and can also have difficult ones, and vice versa at home.
I was going to say, why do people get so hot under the collar when other people are doing it with their children? You know, a lot of people get very angry with. Fine, you know, it's not even your child; it's someone's making the choice. So, say with you or with Meghan, a lot of people have got she's got a lot of hate. Why would you get a lot of hate?
Sorry, I've just realised the grill's on. I think the thing is, I think people. Oh, that's Kay. I think people like. I think it's, if you choose any alternative route, people are going to have a strong opinion on it. It's like us with home educating our kids as well, isn't it? It's just not the norm. So people, I think a lot of people see it as you're taking risks with your child if you haven't got all the doctors there and the white coats.
But there is always an assumption. It's a little bit like, you're right, homeschooling is a good example. It's a little bit of an assumption that we're not sitting there with huge amounts of agonising over the decision. It's not just a sort of flippant decision just to go, oh, I'm just going to have a birth at home and be really irresponsible. It's not an act of irresponsibility to be different to the norm.
No, well, but a lot of people, like somebody just said there, how would you have felt if something had gone wrong?
Yeah.
And you weren't there. I mean, the thing is, you know, she was in a really good position. She was always, say for instance, it's been back to back or something like that, I might have thought differently, but she was in a really good position. I was really healthy. Her heartbeat was very strong, wasn't it, with Maddie? There was no complications whatsoever. The only thing that they thought might be a risk is that I was older, but I do think that's the medical world being very ageist. I mean, to call Meghan a geriatric mother, I mean, it's
very ageist, but I suppose I am of the opinion it did get a bit tense towards the end of Maddie's delivery, and it wasn't to do with any complications. But I guess all deliveries do. But I suppose there were many moments as the father, who isn't the medical expert, I was standing there thinking, what the hell do we do if the shit hits the fan? You know, how quickly can we get her to an A&E department?
Well, this is what I was saying the other day. It's like, I wonder how much Harry actually really wants her to have a home birth.
I don't think he does.
Because it wasn't until years later that Mark said, you do know that I didn't want you to have a home birth.
Yeah.
But I'm just really pleased I had them at home. I'm just really, really pleased. It was, you know, it was just so lovely getting into your own bed, having all the family. The family lived next door, as many of you know. So within minutes of well, when Maddie was born, of course, Maddie was born at 5 o'clock in the morning on Christmas morning. And my sister had been with us through the whole labour, hadn't she? She went straight next door to my parents and cooked a full roast dinner, a full Christmas Day dinner. And then we walked over there with our new baby.
Yeah, it was
and
bizarre.
had yeah. I mean, a lot of people have said to me since then, oh, but it's so nice being in hospital and everybody looking after you. And I have thought, maybe I should have done that. But the thing is, I moved around every room in this house, going up and down the stairs.
Do you feel it was better for being in a space that was familiar to you as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people do say, I mean, for most people, it works brilliantly in hospital. But for some people, I think the fact that you've got lots of strangers, you've got doors opening, you sometimes have to change shifts with midwives and all of that. I just didn't want that. I felt if I was surrounded by strangers, I wouldn't be able to I would have become very self-conscious.
Yes.
Whereas if you think about it, when I had that awful long time when I had to keep going up the stairs to bring the contractions, and then as I went into transition, we were in that room up there, and I suddenly went to you, sick. You grabbed a plant pot, and held it in front of me, and I just threw up into the plant pot, which is, you know, midwives love all that because it means that you're transitioning and you're going into, you know, when the baby's going to come. So, you know, I had my waters broken at home.
I mean, having been there for the birth of my first child, Izzy, I mean, I do remember the experience being, I mean, I didn't feel it was notable at the time because it was my only experience of birth, so it was great. But I remember feeling how constrained and constricted we were to a room and to a limited number of positions. And you just had a limited range of options, you know.
Well, if you think about it, you know, it's an industry, isn't it? And they've got to get people in and they've got to get people out. And whereas, you know, if you're at home, if you want to slow things down because you want to lie in a bath, whatever, as long as you've got a midwife there, you know, listening and checking the baby's all right, then you can do all of that sort of stuff. because actually it's amazing. They say, don't they, that you can, that being at home, well, I mean, there's pros and cons for both. Somebody just there said, Karen, I think it was, said that she'd wanted all 3 of her babies at home and she hadn't been allowed because of various reasons, and that she felt gutted with each baby. You know, the thing is, I was really determined that I wanted to have mine at home, but at the end of the day, it is a healthy baby that you want, isn't it? So, you know, if I'd absolutely had to go into hospital, I would have gone into hospital. I'm just fascinated to know what kind of a home birth Meghan will have, because she's very American as we are. We're very hippie style, aren't we? So, you know, I was bent over bean bags. I was
I'd have thought as
moaning
an American
like
she'd
a
want
cow.
sort of top-notch pharmaceuticals all around her.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's California and it's different.
My chest is sore, for everyone asking.
Yeah.
It's spiky as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And what was the other thing? Yes, because we had gone to this hypnosis. So I was hypnotised for the second one, and Mark had done the hypnosis with me, hadn't you? So, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember making my own nun feel as smooth as if it was full of butter.
She kept saying, imagine that your vagina
I didn't even know I had a nun.
is filled with butter.
I had an imaginary nun.
So I was having to do this whole thing the whole time. So I was sat on the toilet in there, and we just had to, kept having to say butter to me, butter. So that the baby would just fall out, and I was going, butter, open, open, open. Do you know that film is used for how to give birth in
What, of you?
the NHS? Yeah, because I was talking about it on Channel 5, Matthew Wright.
Oh, right.
And they used the film, and they...
Oh, fantastic. Well, tell us again what you were doing. Maybe they'll use
Open, open.
this. Did you choke? Did you choke in the middle of it? It did work, though. She came out like a piece of butter.
She did. She came out buttery.
She came out all buttery.
No, but it was great because I think you must admit there was some magical bits.
Oh, hang on. No, the reason I was coming in hard on saying I didn't want it to happen...
Because that's what we're thinking Harry might be thinking.
Is that... No, not just that, but I think the vast majority of the British public will be thinking it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, they do.
And what I'm trying to say is that I had as strong an opinion on it as everyone else. Now, I felt I had little choice in the first home birth. Having gone... And that was not necessarily an entirely positive experience, but then by the time we got to Kiki and having Kiki, I felt we were all far more equipped and aware and across, and, you know, even the fact that I had an imaginary nun that was full of butter, that worked for me as well, you know. So
Emma Hill, her 2 home births, was it? She said both her oxygen gas and airs broke, so she didn't have it.
I mean, I remember us looking at the time into a documentary about, what is it called? Extreme home birthing,
Like
where you just give birth on your
own.
I mean, that's very
couldn't do
different.
that.
That's a very different prospect. I mean, the idea that you sort of sit in a house and have no aid at all seems remarkable. I mean, people do it. What's that called? It's got a funny name, doesn't it?
It's called, isn't it radical home
Radical
birthing?
home birthing.
Radical home birthing, where you're totally on your own now.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that.
Neither could I. And I couldn't give birth.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the thing is that it's not an illness, and if you are, you know, for me, there was no risks, so they said that I could. But it's going to
Someone
be...
just asked, did you go drug-free? Nadia did, I didn't. Well, I had gas and air.
Were you still drinking with Maddie? Yes, you were.
Yeah,
You
I
kept
was.
going next door for a gin and tonic.
Well, your mum was
'Cause my
telling me
parents were
to
next door.
have a whiskey every now and then, which was very sweet.
Yeah, so, you know...
Royal Baby Watch. Here we go.
Oh, we got
News
some
coming
news.
through. What's this? Kensington Palace confirms Meghan has gone into labour. Well, we knew that. Kensington Palace released a statement. She went into labour in the early hours of the morning. Now, how long was your first labour?
2 days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we never expected she was going to be born on Christmas Day.
Prince Harry is with her, because still some blokes don't go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
Chernobyl is on tonight. I really want to see
That
that.
is so exciting.
It is exciting. The couple recently said they wanted to spend some quality time together. I do think it's ironic that given that they wanted a sort of lockdown on all press coverage, there's just as much press coverage as there would be.
Well, of course there is. Whenever you say they don't want any press coverage, it just makes the press look for you for harder. That's what Jane said, journalist for the last 30 years. So basically, what happened is that we were, went into contractions, didn't we? And then we just... were on our own for ages, and I realised it wasn't till much later that the midwife said to me, what you should have done was have a gin and tonic straight away, because it won't harm the baby at that point, but it just calms you down. Now you can't have a gin and tonic in hospital.
Do you think the Queen will be in there?
No.
Do you not think she'll be pottering
Of
about?
course she won't.
Pouring out some gin and tonics?
See, because there was real speculation that the baby had already been born, because the Queen went to Frogmore House last week.
Right.
So there was speculation that she'd already had the baby.
Oh. So do you think she might have already had it?
She might have. We don't
I
know.
think she's already had it. I think she's back in America.
Who thinks she's already had it? Does anyone think she's already had it?
That, you know, because these kind of
Well, that's what we
terribly-
were all.
Yeah.
That's what all it was on all the daytime shows last week. Everyone was thinking that she'd.
I think
already
Prince
had
Philip is wandering around in a corridor going, "Don't know all the bloody fuss is about." Bloody
Ruby
fuss.
T thinks she's had it. Catherine thinks she's had it. Kerry, no. The royal baby born under the zodiac sign of Taurus. Ooh.
Don't get on with
Dun,
Scorpions,
dun, 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 dun,
Taurians.
dun.
We rub up against each other
Yeah,
in the
it's
wrong
kind
way.
of half and half. Half the people think she's had it. Has anybody else had a home birth?
Keith Farron thinks it's a fake birth and she isn't even pregnant.
Oh,
Maybe
there's lots
she's just
of
researching
conspiracy
for a role.
theories on that.
Yeah.
No, she's definitely having. But I'm excited to. I love royal babies. I love Kate Middleton's children. They're all so gorgeous. I can't wait to see this one. It's going to be so
You know what?
gorgeous.
All this horrible negative press and everything, I just hope they all get on and have a lovely time. I really do. I think a lot of... My nan was a huge royalist. And I've never had a problem with the royals, to be honest. They're massive,
Oh, I
a
love the
massive
royals.
tourist trap attraction. It's not as if they control the establishment. They don't decide that people can or can't do things.
Well, that's why I think.
I
and this
like
is what I've
Prince
said a
Charles. I
couple
think
of-
he's on the right side of environmental concerns. You know, he's...
My mother had a home birth in 1957. I think it was quite common. No, it was the norm.
It was the norm
It
back
was
in the day.
Mark, Google it. See, when did
I
people
can't-
first
oh,
start having babies in
I'm gonna
hospital? I'd be
Google
really
it.
interested in this because it was actually male gynecologists that decided that people... I've said this before and people get so outraged with me because it's so sexist, and I know it's sexist, but I just think male gynecologists... I just didn't want any men looking down there. I wanted a female midwife. I wanted my sisters or my friends. I just didn't want a man at that really vulnerable time looking at my nun.
So I'm trying to look up. I can't. There's no quick way to
They
find
were all
that
born.
out.
They were all born. I would feel exactly the same way, Nadia. Yeah, it's just, I think it's a female time. Like, I passionately believe, and I always get shot down for this, that I don't think men should be forced into the delivery room that don't want to go. Because I don't think it's a place for men, actually, unless they want to be there. Because some
Yeah, but
men,
there's a lot of men. They
but
say
some
that
men, it traumatises them so much
they can't have sex
they go
again.
off their wives.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's a funny one, that, isn't it? I mean, I can't say it's pleasant.
Hi, Tracy.
I can't say it's pleasant looking.
What's the most difficult thing?
The most difficult thing is seeing someone you love in such agonising pain. And you do, I hate to say it, as a fatalist, well, not as a fatalist, you're dealing with life coming into the world. And we are told so often that death is so close to that moment. It's an incredibly traumatic thing for the female body to go through. And so, whether you like it or not, even though you're there for the birth of a new life, your thoughts are constantly fluctuating between birth and death. And for me, the most traumatic part of it was, because you've got such a spotlight on birth and a new life, you are thinking, Jesus H. Christ, life is so fragile and odd.
I was
In a
thinking-
minute, she's going to go.
Somebody at the door. I think that must be so hard for men watching by. And a lot of... Oh, Tuffy, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Tuffy, come in quickly. Yeah, I do think it is something we forget about, that how difficult it is for men as well
tell you hi.
afterwards. Hi, girls.
fun.
Good skating? Yeah. Yay.
She was home birthed.
She was home birth.
She landed on the floor in the other
She
room.
landed on that in there, and Maddie
Banged her head.
landed upstairs.
In exactly the same spot. If you drew a line between both spots where they were born, it's the same GPS.
Hi, Keith.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith, thank you for all your lovely messages. You know I read all our YouTube messages under our vlogs.
Yeah.
I read them all. Oh, guys, Meghan Markle is officially in labour. We know that's what this
Yes.
live is about.
We're so excited. Look, Meghan Markle in labour with the royal baby is the title of our thing. But yes, so home birthing is But I would say that once you've got out the other
What's
side
that?
of home
Joe,
birthing...
You were so brave having a home birth. What's that?
Can I just say, once you've got out the other side of home birthing, there's something really, truly magical about the fact that you've gone through that in your home. It makes me feel more attached to our home, the fact that both our girls were born here, in a much
Yeah.
more fundamental way than just a home.
There was
I sometimes roll
something-
about on the floor over there, sort of going, oh, my babies were born here.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose when you think
like that.
about it, I'm quite hippie in everything I do, aren't I?
And I'm not.
And I didn't want to be I didn't want to be in a paper gown, and I didn't want my
quite like the
legs
idea
in
of a paper gown.
stirrups. I didn't want any
Paper
of that.
gown and stirrups.
I wanted to be in a rainbow jumper, and I wanted to be going, this is exactly how I was, wasn't it, Mark? This is it. I'm going to show you now. Right, move back. Move out the way.
This is
So
hang on, this is an official action replay.
Right, Mark, hands on shoulders. Remember what we did? Right, so I was like this, and Mark had to count.
1, 2,
And I was like,
3,
oh,
4, butter, butter,
oh, punch.
Just
That's
like
what
that.
we did for 10 hours. On the
So you
toilet.
can understand
No,
why
she
Maddie was
7
taken
hours.
next door. She was a little bit scared.
So if you'd like to imagine Meghan and Harry doing battery vagina. And then at one point Mark wanted to go to the loo and I wouldn't let him and I was like, bucket, bring a bucket. And my friend had to bring a bucket and he had to still hold on to my shoulders
That's
like
right.
this, counting while weeing into a bucket. It's hilarious. It's very alternative, let's say. That's why only
Anything
2%
goes.
of the population do it.
Anything goes.
Love buttery, yeah. Anyone who's pregnant now, just think of because this is the other thing in alternative natural childbirthing, okay? If you think of the word contraction, what do you imagine? You imagine close. You imagine closure, right? So in natural home birthing, what they talk about is you're not allowed to say the word contraction. You have to say a wave. You have to say a wave because a wave comes up to the top. So if you think of that as a peak contraction when the pain's with, but what happens afterwards always with every wave is it comes down and it moves away. So you go, open. Because what I was doing with my first baby, I was going, no. And so my cervix was closing.
Okay. Going back there, that's quite problematic. We've gone off on one. Anyway.
It's because I get so
No, I know.
excited about it.
I think-
so even if you're having a baby in a hospital, wherever you are, don't say no, say yes. So if it feels quite challenging, the physicality of it, say yes, yes, like this. Yeah, and say, baby come, and I want to see you. Yes, come to me.
Okay. As someone just quite accurately stated there, the afterbirth is something you're not prepared for after a home birth. It's quite remarkable. But it's quite nice on some toast or sourdough, I find.
I want to do...
With some feta and seeds.
I want to do this. I want to go in. I want to help women birth and
All
just
right.
say open, say
All right.
yes, say
Okay,
yes,
well,
yes.
All right, well, you can, darling, you can. Well, anyway, there you go.
I should have been Meghan Markle's midwife. You're right.
Yeah,
They missed the
Meghan,
trick.
get her in. Anyway, we wish them both the best. I'm sure that the next time we see you, she'll have had a baby and we won't have seen a photo. But guess what? We will see a photo of them telling us that we're not going to see a photo.
Oh no, I
That's
love
the-
this. Steph Walker, the mess the hospital keep away from you. Haha, exactly, because you see it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway.
Okay, thank
lots
you
of love.
everybody. Thank you for joining
Share,
us. And
share
we
your
await the new
thoughts and
baby.
experiences of home birth below, and I won't read them.
I love all
But
babies.
she will. She will.
Nadia,
Won't you?
become a doula. I want to become a doula. Stacey wants me to be her doula at her birth.
Look, Maggie, Spider-Man 2 trailer has landed. I need to go and get my daughter
Right.
down.